Happy Friday. It's a pleasure to have your company. Welcome to tonight's broadcast with me, Gloria Mutesi. Starting us off tonight, while speaking at the G20 Compact with Africa Investment Summit in Berlin, Germany, President Paul Kagame told world leaders that Africa is open for business and productive investment and that trade is the pathway to prosperity and stability. President Kagame commended German Chancellor Angela Merkel for convening the summit, saying that the Compact with Africa Summit is only one of many examples of personal engagement, leadership, and commitment that have marked her tenure. Now, President Paul Kagame has also reiterated that time has come for Africa to produce its own vaccines and other types of medicines and equipment for the benefit of all people on the continent and its development partners. This comes after the German biotechnology company BioNTech announced its intention to manufacture vaccines in Rwanda and Senegal. Let's hear from Serge Nore.
President Paul Kagame is in Germany since Thursday to attend the G20 Compact with Africa Summit and has since held key meetings with different officials and dignitaries that include Senegal's president, the president of the European Commission, the president of the European Investment Bank, and the CEO of the German biotechnology company BioNTech. The Rwandan head of state has pointed out a few facts about the production of vaccines in Africa.
First, end-to-end production of mRNA vaccines is possible in Africa, and thanks to innovations in engineering being undertaken by BioNTech and its partners, among others. This trend will have wide implications for the feasibility of all types of pharmaceutical production in Africa in the years ahead. Second, the necessary partnerships are in place to make this happen. Around the table here, we have the European Union, the European Investment Bank, and the World Health Organization, and Africa CDC. Other organizations such as the MasterCard Foundation and the International Finance Corporation are also making critical contributions.
BioNTech has announced its intention to manufacture vaccines in Rwanda and Senegal, saying it has made significant progress on the feasibility study to make it happen. President Paul Kagame has pointed out that Africans need to work together to make achievements in this regard possible.
Africa works best when Africa works together. It is important that this initiative builds on a continent-wide strategy elaborated through the African Union and the African CDC. I assure you that Rwanda, Senegal, and other partners, South Africa, and all of us in Africa will be collaborating closely make this enterprise a success. We cannot afford business as usual. I appreciate the urgency that all of us here are bringing to the table. And this is the basis upon which I suggest we move forward.
During a press conference, the African leader expressed gratitude for the continent's development partners' recognition of the role Africans must play in such important initiatives. Rwanda and Senegal are also to house vaccine stores belonging to the World Health Organization. Africa currently imports 99% of her vaccines.
Staying on the same note of vaccine manufacturing in Africa, Dr. Daniel Ngamije, who is also in Berlin, speaks to us about what this means to vaccine supply process in Africa and how this is a significant step in the health sector across Africa and in particular Rwanda.
Good evening. Yes, this is to confirm that our President, His Excellency President Paul Kagame and President Macky Sall attended to an important event today in Berlin, where BioNTech committed to transfer technology and knowledge to our countries for manufacturing vaccines, starting with COVID-19 vaccine, but also proceed with advanced clinical trials for malaria and TB vaccines. This is an important milestone for a long-term vaccine supply process in Africa to address different pandemics, but also to address the shortage of COVID-19 vaccine, which is a reality in Africa. We have less than 3% of Africans who received 2 doses of vaccines for COVID-19. This is a very challenging situation because we can't resume normal life and rebuild our economy without having at least 60% of our population vaccinated for COVID-19. We take this opportunity to appreciate the commitment of BioNTech because it opens different opportunities for researchers in relation with vaccine manufacturing, but also for other therapies like immunotherapy for treatment of different pathologies, including cancers. This is an important event because we believe that behind addressing public health issues which are real and future pandemics, there are also possibility of having Rwanda contributing to the response, to the international response for containing COVID-19.
To other matters now, the University of Rwanda awarded certificates to more than 9,000 graduates on Friday. The graduates from various disciplines have been urged to bring about change in order to create new jobs. Let's now hear from Gabi Muvunyi.
I promise to uphold
The graduates are from 6 colleges of the University of Rwanda. The ceremony was held virtually due to COVID-19 restrictions, which has had a significant impact on the education sector. Karasira Tuishimia Dan, a graduate from the Department of Medicine who spoke on behalf of the university's graduates, say that in addition to the knowledge they gained from the university, studying through the pandemic has taught them great lessons.
First of all, we learned to be patient because at some point we had lost morale. But for those of us who were studying medicine, we went to lend a hand to the government. Some of us helped with general screening. And with this, we learned not to be idle when we are faced with a challenge.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Rwanda urged the graduates to make good use of the knowledge they have gained in order to contribute towards their own development. He also praised the efforts of the students and the parents during the academic year despite the difficult times. The Minister of Education, Dr. Valentine Uwamaria, commended the dedication and tireless work of the staff and the students of the University of Rwanda during the COVID-19 pandemic. As you're aware, the schools were closed for a long time. So during the closure, the University of Rwanda made a decision to transition to online distance learning. During this time, we had 10% of the students participating, whilst when the university reopened, the number rose to 95%. So we had both in-person and virtual online classes. So there's no longer any gap. Among the students who graduated were 385 who were awarded master's degrees, 57 awarded with PhDs, and 7,796 with bachelor's degrees. This was the 7th graduation ceremony to be hosted by the university since it was created through a merger of 7 public institutions of higher learning. Gabi Muvunyi, reporting for RTV News.
As Rwanda prepares for the 17th edition of the Kwitizina Baby Gorilla naming ceremony, with 24 baby gorillas to be named this year, officials at the Rwanda Development Board have announced that 30 projects worth 780 million Rwanda francs are to be set up in line with helping communities around the country's national parks to develop.
Those images were taken back in 2018 during the Kwitizina Baby Gorilla naming ceremony that year. And this year, like in 2020, the ceremony will be held virtually because of the ongoing fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Kwitizina uyu mwaka izakorwa hifashishijwe ikoranabuhanga.
Kwitizina this year will be held virtually because of the COVID-19 pandemic problem that prevents us from gathering as we used to. This is the second time the event will be held virtually. This year, 24 baby gorillas will be getting names.
Uyu mwaka tuzita amazina abana b'ingagi 24.
Only 246,000 tourists have visited Rwanda during this year so far, compared to 1.059 million in 2019. Last year, the tourism sector brought in just $121 million compared to $498 million in the previous year. This year, the goal is $600 million.
When members of the private sectors abroad send us tourists, they feel secure when they arrive here, and when they go back, they spread the word. That and other tourism promotion initiatives show that revenues from the tourism sector will bounce back, and we must not be discouraged, and different institutions must cooperate to revive the sector. That's very important.
As part of Rwanda's program to ensure that 10% of revenue from the tourism sector is injected back in the drive to help communities living around national parks to develop since 2005, 780 projects have been set up worth 6.5 billion Rwandan francs. 30 worth 780 million Rwandan francs are to be created this year.
Iyi mishinga kandi yagize uruhare rukomeye mu kubaka amavuriro.
These projects have played an important role in building health centers, giant water storage tanks, and activities to boost agriculture and animal husbandry, beekeeping, and handcrafts that helped improve the livelihoods of communities living around the Volcanoes National Park. These projects have also helped to change the perceptions of the local residents, with former poachers now protecting the park and its animals. The September 24th event will be the 17th to be held, and 328 gorillas have so far been given names since it started. Through the Rwanda Works program, officials at various levels have been monitoring the progress of the COVID-19 vaccination program, and say by September this year in Kigali and in the secondary cities, 90% of the population will have been vaccinated. Jane Mutoni now reports.
At 9 a.m., Wandu Sabimana Cecile with a physical disability went to get the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccination at the Nyamata Stadium. Her and Sharma Mitesh Kumar, who had gone to get the second dose, was very happy to be vaccinated. I'm happy to be vaccinated because this will help me in avoiding getting infected. I was curious at first because of the rumors around it concerning its effects, but on the contrary, I still felt normal afterwards. The mayor of Kigali City, Prudence Rubingisa, says the fact that the government has put much effort in vaccinating people and the good reception gives hope that in the near future, life could get back to normal.
The high turnout shows that they understand and appreciate it, and it gives us hope that once we vaccinate the planned number in Kigali, as we plan to complete the vaccination program this time around by the 4th of September, we will have vaccinated 90% of the population. We hope that by that time people will return to their normal jobs or way of life. This does not mean that we are immune to the virus. It means that the vaccination will help us in the prevention of getting infected.
The Minister of State in charge of primary health care, Dr. Tarsis Munga, visited the vaccination site in Gahanga Health Center in Kichukio district and continued in Nyamata in Bugesera district, and says he is confident that by the end of September, 90% of the population in Kigali and in the secondary cities will be vaccinated.
We haven't vaccinated a lot of people in rural areas. Only 8% have been vaccinated, which means that there's still a large number of people that haven't been vaccinated. The participation rate is high. The only issue is that all the categories need to be vaccinated first and haven't been vaccinated, but our goal is to keep vaccinations going. We are confident that by the end of September, we will have vaccinated 90% of the population in the secondary cities. All people, the young and old, want to be vaccinated.
The Minister of Health says that since the start of the vaccination program, the number of COVID-19 patients has reduced. In the next 2 weeks, the results of the vaccination program are expected to be clear. Rwanda has a target to vaccinate at least 8 million people, and by October this year, 2.5 million are expected to have been vaccinated. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Many thanks, Jane Mutoni. Now, a study by Alert International has shown that delays in Business Development Fund loans for its partners has led them to personal financing in form of borrowing and lending among individuals instead of waiting for BDF loans, saying that this could contribute to losses.
In Rusizi district, 540 people applied for a business development fund, but only 7% were able to receive it, while others dropped it due to the long process it takes to acquire it. In Nyamasheke district, about 450 people have applied for the loan, but only 19% were able to wait. Therefore, this leads business owners to choose personal financing in order to continue their daily business. We talk to people that sell tomatoes, basically those who try to make a living from what they sell. So it moves from BDF, then to SACCO, then comes back to us. So for someone that needs the money in order to work, it becomes close to impossible. This is why they choose personal financing, because it is faster and convenient for them. On the other hand, business owners say they've lost hope to work with BDF. The way it is explained to us, it seems quite easy to get, but yet the process is quite long. The Business Development Fund disagree with what they say. BDF Investment and Portfolio Manager Diana Karaba explains that everything is done with the use of technology and the process is done within a week. Unlike before, it no longer takes long. Now that we have a system we work with, it takes half the time because they provide the necessary documents at SACCO or at the bank and is put in the system. In addition to this, business owners point out that the interest rate is quite high. However, the existing BDF was a way to help them get a loan at a lower interest rate, but they were surprised to get the same interest rate as a person who applied for a loan from a bank through the normal way. Gabi Muvunyi, reporting for RTV News.
Rwanda Meteorology Agency has announced that the first season of heavy rainfall will begin in the second week of September. Agricultural authorities are being encouraged to help residents prepare their fields and supply them with fertilizers. The August downpours saw farmers across the country start to prepare their fields, with some already filling their fields with manure and fertilizers. Farmers are currently purchasing seeds and fertilizers so that when the rainy season begins, they are ready to start planting for the 2020 agricultural season A. We are marching now and preparing our fields where we will plant beans, maize, as we prepare for the fertilizers as well. We haven't started planting yet, so as soon as it starts raining, we will do that in September. We are ready to start planting. We are just waiting for the rainy season. We are now buying seeds for all that we need. Officials from the Rwanda Meteorology Agency point out that the first season of heavy rainfall will start in the first 2 weeks of September. The Director General of the Rwanda Meteorology Agency explains what plans are underway across the country as the rainy season is set to begin.
Iteganijwe rero gutangira aho izaboneka kare ni mu cyumweru cya kabiri cy'ukwezi kwa 9 mu bice by'amajyaruguru ashyira uburengerazuba.
We believe it will start raining in the second week of September in the western province and other parts of the eastern province at a later period. But specifically in terms of agriculture, what we need to inform them about is the exact dates of cultivation. Currently, fields are being prepared and distribution of agricultural input. We encourage the farmers to follow the instructions we gave them according to where each of them is in terms of when the rain will subside. That will be at the beginning of December in most parts of the country, apart from one part of the northeast where it is expected to subside at the beginning of January 2022.
Dr. Charles Buchagu, the Deputy Director General of RAB, acknowledges that they have already asked farmers to take certain steps.
A lot has been done so far, especially on what crops need to be planted in each district and in each field, while bearing in mind what is needed in the agro-processing industries and what Rwandans need.
During the 2022A planting season, beans, rice, maize, cassava will be the most cultivated crops. RAB is calling upon farmers to step up efforts in irrigation to combat climate change and increase productivity. Also in the news today, while residents in various parts of Kigali continue to ask that water distribution projects be expedited, the Water and Sanitation Corporation has assured that by 2024, every citizen in the city will be able to access it within 200 meters.
A resident in Bamhoreze village, Busanza Cell, Kichukiro district, says he travels a kilometer to and fro just to get clean water, which takes him about an hour.
The water I fetch is from underground, as we use so much energy to extract it because we don't get water from Wasak. If only there were water reservoirs near the villages where people can fetch water without having to use so much energy and without difficulties.
These are sentiments he shares with others, although there are some people who have knowledge that solutions can be found.
Even if water pipes are dry for 2 or 3 days, it's not a problem because by the time the water is back and running, we still have some water left in the reservoir. Like when a person has 25 jerrycans of water and the pipes are dry for 3 days. By the time the water is back, you still have 5 jerrycans to be used.
The Water and Sanitation Corporation held a meeting with partners on Friday to discuss the master plan for water distribution by 2050. It was organized by WASAC in collaboration with Japanese experts through the Japanese International Cooperation Agency. The head of Kigali Water Distribution Unit, Rutagungira Method, says the blueprint provides answers to community concerns.
This blueprint shows us what is needed to achieve this goal. As you have seen, we have indicated that by 2024 people will have access to clean water, with 87% of households having running water in their homes and the remaining 13% will be fetching water from public tanks. But the goal of this blueprint is to reduce public tanks so that by 2030 we want everyone to access water in their own compounds.
WASAC estimates that access to clean water in 200 meters in cities is 87%, but overall in the country, 76% can access it at 500 meters. Kigali needs 140,000 cubic meters of water per day, and by 2030, there will be a need for 333,000 cubic meters, while by 2050, 1 million cubic meters will be needed. A Japanese by the names of Takemasa Mamiya, who represents the team that is improving the master plan for the distribution of clean water in Kigali City, says the master plan is in line with the country's vision.
Most important point to prepare our master plan is following the national development plan and also national target. According to the Rwanda national target is nobody behind. Everybody can access to the safe water. So this is a very, very important point of our study. So to achieve this national target, we prepare the master plan.
The master plan for the distribution of clean water in Kigali City by 2050 states that the distribution of clean water will reach 7 sectors in the outskirts of Kigali City. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
It's a wrap for tonight. Thank you for the privilege of your time. I wish you a joyful weekend free from COVID-19 and of course a speedy recovery to those currently battling the virus. Otherwise, God bless you and keep you. And until next time, I'm Gloria Mutesi. Bye for now.